Well, hello once again. It's Robin Sachs and Lindsay House, and we are back for another installment, we can call it, of
Yeah.
the ABCs of your success for 2022. And
Letter
we
G.
yeah, letter G today. We are literally walking through the alphabet and letter by letter, talking about a handful of things that start with that letter of the week, and really that are just components to everything you need from a standpoint of success. So we're essentially filling your toolbox letter by letter. So again, thanks for being with us one more time. And again, we are on the letter G.
Yeah. And
So
Robin, I have to tell you before we really dive into this and for our listeners, because as Robin and I prepare for this, sometimes we're very spontaneous and we normally at least give a little bit of thought to like what would be a standout of this letter. And it's really helping me. Like every time we sit down to do this, there's just these reminders of this is important, or pull out this, or journal about it. And we're asking the same thing of you. We're asking you as you kind of listen through this, whether you're in the car or able to sit down and journal a little bit, we're giving you the prompts. We're giving you the promise that if you keep showing up to this and you keep working through this alphabet with us, by the time we get to Z, you're going to grow as our G promise for you today.
Thank you, Lindsay, for bringing that in the mix because learning is one thing and you can learn a ton of great stuff. We all do. But until you apply that knowledge, until you start to apply or really sort of even just take it apart for yourself, what does that mean to you? How can you put this into action in your life? How can it help you? That's where the magic really happens. So
Yeah.
there's that difference between knowing and doing. So thank you for that, Lindsay. We are here to help you know. You are here to help you do. So there we go. Nice.
Perfect.
And I love that you said grow because that's one I think that'll come up as a G word that sort of is throughout all the other stuff we're going to talk about. One of the things that stands out and stood out to us as we were just brainstorming about this is a gap. And what we mean by gap is the gap of things is usually where it's easy to get stuck or caught up in. And what we're talking about here with this first G word is the gap between your expectations and reality.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny. We were vacationing in Europe with both sets of parents, and we arrive in London. And of course, we're like loving the accents. But when you get off the train, it says mind the gap. When you go under a lower overhead, mind your head, mind the. And, anyways, we love the phrase mind the gap. And I feel like that really circles in my head a lot for just little shout out for you, this little mantra of mind the gap, because when Robin says gap of expectations and reality, let me give you some just real examples of what's happening in real life with what that looks like. So if our expectation is we get super motivated and we're going to work out 5 times a week, but our reality is we hold a very busy job, we have full family life, we have sports going on, that chasm, that gap is huge. And how can we really reduce the gap? So that would look like, and this is where all those small goals come in, is can I say 2 days a week of a workout would shorten that gap? Okay, and we're going to keep going with this. So let's widen that gap again. The expectation is I'm going to stop eating out. I'm going to cook all of my meals in for the week. Well, the reality was I was eating all of my meals out, or 5 meals out a week, before I set this goal. Huge chasm, huge gap. Okay, let's shrink it again. We shrink it, and that looks like I'm going to do 2 to 3 meals out. I'm going to allow myself to go through some drive-thrus with very purposeful, choiceful options. So it's not that we don't care, and it's not that we're not trying or aiming for that target. It's that we're not setting such expectations that our reality doesn't match it at all. And a lot of times this is like one of the most underutilized tools that we can be shifting, that we don't think shift the expectation. We think shift the goals. We think everything else that needs to shift except for shifting expectations. Do you want to add on to all of that?
Yeah, brilliant. I love how you put that because so often the challenge that we run into when we're moving from one thing to another, no matter what that is it's really easy to get into that black or white thinking. It
Mhm.
has to be this or this, and we end up at extremes. And to your point, I used to do it all the time. Now I'm going to do this all the time. Well, that's not realistic. And why would you ever expect it to be realistic?
Right.
Don't ever have that expectation. If you can do it better than you
Yeah.
were before, that's always the goal. That is always the goal. Don't compare yourself to everyone else, anyone doing anything. Compare yourself to you from yesterday or last week or last month or last year. That's it. And all the goal ever is, no matter what you're doing, is, like you said, get that gap smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's how you do that. Is, am I doing better than yesterday? Yep. Awesome. You're doing
Yes.
great. Just keep doing that. So that's, and you
Yes.
know what? I'll take that to something that's, communication, and effective communication is my bailiwick. And so the same sort of thing applies when I talk about being a communicator versus being an effective communicator.
Mhm.
Those are two very different things. And the thing is, this thing in between there, that's a gap. And so everyone communicates every day, but there's a skill set and nuances to becoming a more effective communicator.
Mm.
And usually what happens is that gap is where miscommunication
Yeah.
lives.
So good.
And
Yeah.
so how do you get from being just an okay communicator to somebody who truly can not only make your messages clear, but move people to action, get buy-in, get trust, be authentic? Those are different things that you can do with your body, with your tone of voice, with empathy, with making sure you're talking about your audience, not yourself, all of those types of things. So that gap is where the smaller you can get it, the more effective you can be, no matter what you're doing.
I love it with communication. I haven't thought about it as much there. That's so good. You also mentioned just, I feel like genuine is coming to mind. You had a good segue there of just being yourself and don't compare yourself to other people through this process of narrowing in our gaps. Can you talk on genuine for another G word for us for a minute?
Yeah, that's another good one. Genuine, we hear the word genuine and authentic and be you and all those things. They're almost catchphrases these days. You
Mhm.
hear them just kind of tossed out there like a lot of other words that we like to toss out. But the
Yeah.
reality is, you being genuinely you and genuinely bringing who you actually are to the table without trying to adjust yourself to fit in with everyone else, or trying to look like or sound like or be like someone else, that genuineness is your superpower. It is literally the only thing you have to differentiate yourself from anyone else. We can learn the same skill sets. We can have the same titles. We can walk in a room and deliver the same information. But you being the one that brings yourself into that room and delivering it the way you deliver it. How do you talk? How do you think? How do you communicate with other people? What do you bring to the table that has nothing to do with your title, with your position, with your company, with how we're supposed to do that, because that's what the PowerPoint slides say, or this is the information that I need to deliver to you. What part of you are you bringing into the mix? That is literally the only thing that sets you apart from other people. And so a lot of times we try and give away some of that because we are trying to fit in, no judgment, just awareness. We're trying to sound and look like other people that we want to emulate, or we aspire to a different level. For example, in an organization, we need to start behaving and sounding like those people. I get that. But don't ever lose you in the mix. Being genuine is exactly the thing that usually everyone else already values in you. And if you
Mhm.
give that away, you've lost a secret weapon that you've got.
I think you're such a prime example of this, Robin. I have your book close. I'm telling you, I keep showing this because this really, your words in this book they're not unknown to me. I grew up with a lot of self-development. My dad was very into it. We listened to a lot of, but you came on my podcast, Direction Not Perfection. And when you spoke about get off my bus and talked about bringing in the right they, or I'm telling you, your message was like explosive to me. I was like, this woman is amazing. I want more Robin in my life. but it's your delivery. It's how you put things. It's how you go about it. And so I just think that that's a good example. If you're not you, I don't think I would have gotten the same thing out of it. I might have gone like, heard that, but because it was you, totally different reaction on my end. So we all have that superpower. We just need to know, again, be genuine and like hone in on it versus chasing somebody else's goals, chasing somebody else's dreams.
And Lindsay, I want to take something you just said, and I'll take all the good stuff you said. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored. Thank you for the kind words. But you said something so important in that. I've heard the words before, but if it wasn't the way that it was said, it wouldn't have hit me as much. And that's that thing that you realize with being genuine. We all hear the same words over and over and over and over. What makes it stand out? And often it's that person delivering it. It's said in a slightly different way. I've heard it 100 times, but it was said in a way that I went, "Ooh, that's different or fresh or new," or it just sounds not like I've heard it 99 other times. And that's why it's so wonderful to have all of these different types of people and personalities and deliveries, because I'm not going to resonate with everyone, and everyone's not going to resonate with me. But the beauty of it is other people being genuine, those people will resonate with somebody. And that's the beauty of it. We don't want to sound and look alike because we don't serve people that way. Be you. The people you resonate with will come, and you will be of value to them and them to you. If you're not that person for them, they can go find another voice of someone else being genuine that resonates with them. And that's, I think, part of how we all bring value to one another, is be you and let someone else be them. And we've got everyone covered in bringing value to the world.
Yeah, so good. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I feel like I want to talk about growth more, and I want to talk about gratitude. Where do you want to hit first?
Love it. You know what? Let's touch on gratitude. Why don't you take that away? What have you got for gratitude, Lindsay?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think everybody knows I'm an accountability coach, I'm a dietitian, I'm a personal trainer, and yet gratitude comes up probably just as often as food logging or training regimens or whatnot. And you're probably like, why? Why does that matter? And it's because everything's a mental game. Everything is just as much mental as it is physical as far as getting into action. And keeping something like a gratitude journal, I picture it this way. If we fill ourselves with gratitude, we are at the action part of this. We are seeking the good that is around us. We are seeking the positive. And if I'm picturing it like a bucket or a cup, I'm filling my bucket, my cup with those things that we deem positive, and there's less room for the things that feel like they're weighing us down. And I think some people do this a little more naturally. I think some people wake up and go, thank you for this beautiful day, for the sunshine, for my kids beside me, and I think other people just weren't raised like that. Sometimes, I have to really say thank you for the air in my lungs, for my arms that move, for my legs that carry me to, so it's getting in this habit of seeking positive, minimizing the harder things. Not that those disappear, not that they're not valid. And Robin, you and I talk about that a lot. We are never saying the hard is not there. We are just saying so is the good. And if your brain doesn't naturally go that way, we have to train it to go that way. And for a lot of people, doing something like waking up to a gratitude journal or finding your time in the day. Robin and I talked about this. We all have like our power time in the day that we take time to say our thanks and to appreciate what we do have in life. And I'm going to throw the ball back in your court and tell you to keep running with that. I would like to hear what you say from more of like a communication standpoint or a confidence standpoint.
Sure. And, taking it to those places, the things that really pop to my mind with gratitude is we as human beings go where our attention goes. Mm-hmm. We naturally go where our attention goes. And it's as simple as if you're driving on the road and you see a billboard and you look for a second. When you come back to the road, you've got to correct, because we literally go where our attention goes. Mm-hmm. And when we all know these people. We might be these people. Again, no judgment, just
Right.
awareness, because awareness is the most powerful place you can be. Once you have awareness, you can change, shift, make choices. You can do anything. So
Yeah.
this is all about awareness. We all know those people who are constantly focused on the negative.
Yeah.
They will find the negative in anything, and no matter what happens, again, the weather is a perfect example. I'm looking outside today, right? And it's kind of sunny. It's a little bit cloudy right now. There's supposed to be rain in a few hours for the rest of the day, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will have one of those people look out and go, somebody will say, "Oh, look at the sunshine this morning." And they'll be, "Yeah, but it's going to rain later today." Right? Or it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's so hot today." Well, it's all right. Wait a couple weeks, it'll be cooler. No, then it'll be so cold. I hate that. It's like it's always the opposite, right? You complain
Yeah.
because it's cold, you complain because it's hot. You complain because it's too sunny, you complain because it's too cloudy. You complain because it rains, you complain it doesn't rain and your flowers are all dying in your yard. Everything is a negative complaint. And those people are usually miserable to be around. They're just miserable to be around because there is nothing but just it sucks the energy out of us. And when you simply are able to look out, for example, and say, "Hey, it's sunny right now. That's pretty nice. I enjoy that. Oh, the clouds are coming in, but hey, the sun's still there. It's only partly cloudy, and look at the sun, and I can still see it. It's going to rain later. Great. I just planted some stuff, and my grass is all brown from the winter. That's
Mm.
great. My grass needs a little bit of rain today."
Yeah.
To be able to flip it, and again, not be Pollyanna about the world, but truly see what's okay, what is good, what's working. And like you said, some people have to work harder at this because it's just not a natural thing, or the environment they've been in has surrounded them with just, it's become a habit to look at all the what's going wrong instead of what can I be grateful for.
Yeah.
But I love your analogy of the glass. The idea isn't to completely have it full or completely empty of anything ever. The idea is balance. And how wonderful is the more of one of those things you have, the less of the other you have. And so,
Yeah.
once again, like we were talking about earlier, the goal is how can I bring more of seeing some positive stuff that I'm grateful for, even if it seems ridiculous to you? Because hey, my dad broke his shoulder a couple months ago, and it made me realize, wow, every day I get up and I can move my arms. He hasn't been able to move his arm for a month.
Yeah.
And you sometimes it takes something bad to happen for you to go, whoa, I am grateful. But to
Mhm.
start to make that a point of doing every day just because you can fills that glass or that bucket, so to speak, with a lot more, that you end up finding so much less room for negativity. And from a communication and confidence standpoint, we're talking about your self-talk. We're talking about what your brain is saying constantly. And what you're saying in your head, what's happening with this conversation up here, which is all you, determines how you feel. It determines how you behave. It determines whether you're going to do something well or you're not, determines whether you're going to get in your own way or not. And
Yeah.
so the more that you can remind yourself there's I only have half the story if I'm complaining,
That's
the
good. Only half
more
the
you're going to be able
story.
to get yourself the whole story. And it's only when you have the whole story that you're actually in a place to make a choice.
Right. I just got the ding, the light bulb moment of our homework moment, Robin. Our homework for our listeners, because this actually, ironically, is feeding right into. I have an accountability week running with my membership community, and we were talking about pivoting this morning, which is really what you were just saying, that ability to pivot. And I'm going to give you my example, and then I'm going to give you the homework that I'm thinking. But my mom is in town, and we had a whole day planned. The kids were going to go to school, and we were going to run around. We had our little checklist, our cooking list, our where we're going to go out to lunch list, all this going. And my daughter wakes up with a fever, right? And that's when all moms go, "Arr," life comes to a screeching halt. And we have choices at this moment. And the choice is, we can be bummed. We can be like, oh, now we're stuck at home, blah, blah, or pivot and fun. Now it's the last day with Nana and we can play cards and we can watch movies and so we were talking about this to my group because there's multiple things that happen here. There's the shift of your own mindset, and you've just all of a sudden shifted your own mood and expectations of the day, but you're also role modeling. My daughter went from tears because she had to stay home and worried about soccer and all this to all of a sudden, okay, that sounds fun. Like, I'm ready for the day. We'll dose up and we'll just make the day fun at home. And so the goal or the homework in my group, and if Robin, if you're cool, if we shift it over to right now, is find your areas where you have either recently pivoted really well and you're proud of yourself for pivoting, or your areas that you need to build some awareness where the pivots could be happening. And you're like, I know I could do better about this, but I'm just not. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I don't know. Where can you go with this homework? Can you more clearly define that than I'm doing?
No, I love it. I think that's great, Lindsay. The other thing too, and as you're talking, another G phrase is coming to my mind: go with the flow.
Yeah, that's good.
And really, and this might be kind of as part of your homework, not really to do something by looking back, because I love that part. Do what Lindsay just suggested. Look back and see, when have I done this recently? Or if I didn't, when was there an opportunity maybe to have done it? Again, no judgment, just awareness. We're learning. But the go with the flow, this is almost like a homework going forward. Start to pay attention in your life, starting right now. Where are opportunities to go with the flow? And again, this is going to be easier for some people and really challenging for other people. And that's okay. Don't just expect to be a master at something. This is stuff that humans have to work at, but we've got to be aware of it first. So start to pay attention. And we'll take your example, Lindsay. It's a perfect one. I had something set, I had something planned, and it was something I was looking forward to. And now, right, the brakes. I'm hearing, right, David Schwimmer in my head. I'm hearing Ross yelling, pivot, pivot. And, even if that makes you smile, go ahead and think of that. If you're a Friends fan, right? Schwimmer's yelling pivot, and just stop in the moment and go, okay, this isn't what I was planning. However, it is what I have right now to work with. No other no other emotions, no other words come into that. This is what I have now. So let me go ahead and pivot to, what can I do with what I have now? Because I can complain all I want about what I thought I had or what I was going to have or what I wanted to have. Nobody cares. And guess what? You don't have it. So all of that is a waste of time and energy. It means literally nothing. It's truly just complaining. Yeah. So take that time and energy and put it into now and go, okay, here's what I do have now. What can I make of this? Mm-hmm. And that going with the flow, the more you identify opportunities to do that, and then the more you actually do it, oh my goodness, what an amazing energy that you find. What a freedom you find. It's a freedom. It truly is. And so maybe part of the homework is start paying attention forward and find opportunities to pivot.
Perfect. Got it, everybody?
All right.
All right. Yes. Oh, I know we're at our time. We're trying to keep this short for everybody so that you want to keep showing up and you feel like it's tangible and you can come in and get out, and then we'll be back at you in the next couple week or so.
Exactly. And if there was one word that I would say kind of brings all the G stuff together, it's got to be growth. Mm-hmm. And really, that's really what our ABC series is all about. Is we love the idea of being able to just give you some things that, if they resonate with you, if you take them, if you apply them into your life where they fit, or even where they don't fit, make them fit. These are things that will take even what you already do well and just keep improving, keep moving forward, keep getting better and better and better. And that's what it's all about, is your personal and professional growth. And so we do hope that this toolbox that we're throwing together for you is something that you can take and really be actionable about. Again, there's a difference between knowing and doing. And we're hoping that you're getting some of the knowing and the learning from us. We invite and encourage you, highly encourage you, put this stuff into action and see how powerful some little shifts can be, because those little shifts done consistently have a big impact.
You got it. Thank you so much for your time today, Robin. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Lindsay. I appreciate you.
And our
And
listeners,
yes,
yes. And yes, we will be back. I always like to sign off with some cheers to health and happiness, and have an amazing Wednesday.
bye, everybody.
Bye.